What up, what up, what up? Testing, testing, testing. Let me go ahead and test my mic. Make sure we everybody can hear me okay. Let me get my volumes up a little bit. What up? Welcome to Aboriginal News. Today I'm gonna be your host, Ty Data. Filling in for the family Chief Ether. We're gonna have some very important stuff to talk about. So if you're just tuning in in this video later, you want to make sure you watch this video because we got to talk about some stuff very seriously as well. So let's check out the family in the building. Who we got? We got Chad Medlock in the building. We got Ron Redbird in the building. We got Rainstorm Joe 47 in the building. What up? Nice to see the family in the building. We got a lot of stuff going on, you guys. We got V Ghost Feathers in the building. We got Chuck Jackson in the building. What's up, Chuck? What up, family? We got Ashley D in the building. Quit playing with him, Ashley D. In the building, seeking the truth. What's up, my family? Seeking the truth in the building. What's going on? So we out here, and we gonna get it in today. We gonna get it in today, and it's gonna get a little more serious today because we got this month right here. This month is a very important month. Carl in the building is a very important month for the movement, whether you against it or not. So Ghost, what's up in the building? We know Ghost out there. What's up, family? And so it's gonna be it's gonna be a lot going on, and so that means there's probably gonna be a lot of attacks, different types of angles. You can expect, maybe some harsh words or something going on. But it is what it is. So if anybody out there wanna put down a town, we can try to check out the weather in some people's towns. If you want to put your town right there, we got Google Home. We can ask Google what's the weather. And if you guys interested, even though we know you guys can just just look it up real quick. But if anybody want to put their town in there, you can go ahead and put your town in there. We can check what the weather's like over there. So we got Virginia. Virginia is Virginia is a state. So you got a town in Virginia, just the whole Virginia. Here we go. Okay, Google. What's the weather in Virginia?
Currently in Richmond, it's 92 and partly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a forecasted high of 96 and a low of 71.
Ooh, you guys doing it big. Okay, Google. What's the weather in Memphis, Tennessee?
Right now in Memphis, it's 87 and partly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a forecasted high of 91 and a low of 76.
I'm doing it nice. Okay, Google. What's the weather in Norfolk, Virginia?
Currently in Norfolk, it's 90 and sunny. Today, it'll be sunny with a forecasted high of 93 and a low of 75.
Ooh, 93. Y'all doing it big. Okay, Google. What's the weather in Chicago, Illinois?
Currently in Chicago, it's 82 and partly cloudy. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a forecasted high of 84 and a low of 74.
Yeah. Okay, Google. What's the weather in Baltimore?
Currently in Baltimore, it's 94 and mostly sunny. Today, it'll be partly cloudy with a forecasted high of 94 and a low of 80.
Okay, Google. What's the weather in Minneapolis?
Right now in Minneapolis, it's 70 with showers. Today, there'll be scattered thunderstorms with a forecasted high of 90 and a low of 72.
You see how they do us? You see how they do us? It's going to be raining and thunderstorming in Minneapolis, man. Just outcast. What up, family? Who else we got? Think that Mr. Dark, bro, in the building. Aboriginal Leo in the building. Nice to see you, family. We got Ascending Maya in the building. What up? Yeah, I know. I know. We supposed to have go in the backyard and play a little bit with the kids, but it ain't gonna happen. So what we gonna do, y'all, is we gonna go ahead and kind of get it in. We gonna go ahead and get it in. And like I say, if you watch this chat and you watch this later, make sure you go ahead and watch the whole video, because we gonna get it in. But first off, I gotta give my apologies to I gotta give my apologies to one of our elders, Black Jesus. Black Jesus called me and he cussed me the fuck out last night. And the reason why I'm talking public about it is because I want to use this for an example, and I want to use this for a teaching tool. I'm not the one proper to be teaching anybody, but my life experience can be learned from. And sometimes my frame of thought and some of the things I think can be learned from. But I am nor or claim to be any kind of teacher or anyone fit to teach at all. But through my life experiences, there's things that you can learn from. And so I want to apologize to Chief Minister and let him know that I had no intentions on trying to make you look like an idiot or anything like that on the game show. Recently we did a game show, and the game show is called Aboriginal versus African. And in this game show, we have an image of an African with the plate in his lip. And so because Chief Minister Black Jesus was representing for the Africans, he feel that I was trying to belittle him and somehow make him look stupid because of the African with the plate in his lip. Now, the main point of this is how he felt, not my intentions or not what really happened. It's the fact that I made him feel a certain way that I want to address. Now, the fact of the matter is, now I'm going to get down to the fact of the matter, and then I have to address how our elderly feel, because I am very sorry for that, and that was not the attention or the intentions to make you look dumb or look like an idiot or anything, because you were the most interparted part of the show. I am not that funny. So is a Black Lotus is not that funny either. You, on the other hand, are a very entertaining individual, and that was one of the reasons why we like to have you on the show, because we know Black Jesus is going to put on the show. That was one of the reasons. Also, another reason is that we know that you are Afrocentric, and we know that you will come with some knowledge that's not that is a little more deeper than the average Joe. So there was the second reason why we thought you would be good on it. We would like to have you on the show. And other reasons is because I wanted to promote because you are the minister in charge of weddings, I wanted to promote that, and I wanted the people to see and understand that we all we got. Because there's a lot of people that say, oh man, Black Jesus a nut. I don't see how you work with that guy. I don't see this and I don't see that. But they don't understand that's all we got. Whether he's Pan-African or whether he's Italian or whatever it may be, we is all we got. So that was the main part, was having you on the show, is to show people, look, say what you want about Black Jesus, but Black Jesus is willing to help us with this marriage information and things like that. And so that's all we got. Until somebody come along and say, I do it, I'm better than Black Jesus at it, then when that person shows up, then you can say something about Black Jesus. But until then, ain't nobody, you know what I'm saying, keep your mouth shut about Black Jesus. Now, this image represent a sarcastic remark within the Aboriginal community. It's not to make Africans look bad, because Africans, to me, Africans are still my brothers and sisters regardless. Now, sure, there might be some radical people out there with some radical views, but for some reason, the radical people is the only people that get attention. So the Aboriginal movement is very, very complex, and it's very hard for people to understand, because we don't have a master. We don't have a head of the household. We are a group of individuals with two things in common. And the two things that we all have in common is that we all know that we were here before they got here. Now, if you interview 1,000 Aboriginals, that right there is going to be something they all agree to. The second thing that we all agree to is that we know that we have to do something for our future generations. So those two things are across the board. You can paint a broad brush. Every single Aboriginal believe those two things only. I'm going to repeat them. That we were here before they got here. Okay? That's all. We all believe that. We all believe that we need to come together politically, financially, racially, culturally, whatever lead you want to come up with. We all agree that we need to do something. And those are only two. Now, how we got here may vary. So there is no broad brush on how we got here in the Aboriginal philosophy. So if some radical guy say we got here from aliens, that don't mean we all believe that. He believed that. How we got here, whether we walked from Africa, swam from Africa, or whether we just, however we got here, that's something that the Afrocentric people use for their argument. They use that for their argument. But we're going to get into that. But let me finish apologizing to the Chief Minister. I'm very sorry I made you feel that way. And I don't know where I went wrong at. And I don't know how I made you feel like that. So I'm confused, and I don't really know too much how to address it, because I don't know where I went wrong at. Now, this image that you're looking at, this is a sarcastic remark that we have on the Aboriginal channel, because most of the Afrocentric people, they cherry pick Africa, and they say they're unapologetically African. And so if you are unapologetically African, you have to embrace all of Africa, including this guy. You have to embrace him as well. He's an African as well. Maybe I'm an African as well. Who cares? It doesn't matter. We were still here before them, and we still got something to do, and we still got to do something about it. Now, and so that's all it is. It's a sarcastic remark to let people know that you guys over in Africa, you guys romanticize Egypt. You romanticize Kemet. You romanticize the Sudan. And all of Northern Africa, all the 90% of them That's their main focus, is that. And so this character represents the part of Africa that no one talks about. So this is the purpose of this guy. It's not here to say, oh man, Black Jesus is a dumbass African, he put lips in his plate. This is not the reason this character is here. It's not to poke fun at them. It's not to say, look at these dumbass people. It's not to say that. It's to say, look at the African Americans. They only like Egypt. They don't like these people. They don't like anybody else. If it's not in Ethiopia and it's not in Egypt, most African Americans, so-called African Americans, they don't talk about it. So this is the only reason we have this image. Not for you. It is not designed for you. But that's neither here or there. All I can do is tell you. All I can do is tell you my truth. Whether you believe it or whether you think I'm some slippery, you know, slimy creature who's trying to pull something over you. I can't help that. All I can do is tell you my truth. Now, the simple fact that you felt, okay, because this is the bottom line, and I want to teach people, that the way a person's feel and your fact is two different things. And so, me as a man, I have to address how he feel. Now, I can come at him sideways, and I can, you know, say all this, and I can sit here and state my facts and my facts only and say, hey, bruh, you believe it or you don't. But the point is that the simple fact that I made him feel a certain way. Now, the first thing I need to do is say, okay, why do I make him feel that way? What about me made him feel that I'm a slippery, slimy motherfucker who tried to play him on a talk show when I thought we was just having fun, and I didn't even remember this guy even being here, but I didn't really think it was a big deal. It's just a sarcastic remark, that's all. So I didn't think it was no big deal. But obviously Black Jesus is pissed, y'all. He cussed me the fuck out. Okay? He's pissed. And so I'm going to take the video down. I'm going to take this character out, and I'm going to change the name. So it's not going to be Aboriginal versus Africa. It's just going to be who invented that. That's all. No characters. Now, we do want you people to understand that this is a modern day African. This is not a ancient Africa of some little civilization thousands of years ago. He's a modern day African. He probably has a cell phone and a PlayStation. He's a modern day African. And so the only reason we have him is because we wanted to emphasize that the African Americans cherry pick Africa, and they don't accept these people. Now, I accept this brother as my brother. Now, whether you accept it and other people accept it, I can't help it. But no one put no attention on these people. All the rough and bad thing that goes on in Africa is right under the rug. Instead, let's just talk about the good stuff. And so, I myself is that I want to apologize, and hopefully I could call you later and maybe not get cussed the fuck out. Okay? Now, however, while you was cussing me out, you did say some things that's a little I want to say, I don't want to say disturbing, but I feel a little belittling to our community. Now, I really don't want to talk about it on air, but I want to use it because it goes along with some of the point that I want to make today. It just so happened what you said, it goes right along with the point that I was going to make today. And I mentioned this point last week. So, and it just so happened it goes along. Now, you did mention your education and how smart you are. And you belittled everybody else's in the community's education level as if you are above them. Now, you made me feel like, now this is not what he said, but this is how you made me feel, is that because he has some type of degree in education, that the rest of us is beneath him. That's how you made me feel with that comment. And I want to address that. Now, all of us got something that we're good at. You might be good at the Bible, but you're garbage with computers. I might be good at computers, but you ask me to peel a potato and I might cut my damn neck off. Somebody else might be good at bicycling, but they can't swim. So we all have something that we're good at. And whatever you're good at or educated at, it doesn't supersede what I'm good at or what other people are good at. If we can come together and realize that we are all good at something, but when we come together, we're the best at everything. The best at everything. Together we are. So, those of you who has PhDs, we need representation of you guys. We need you guys to come out. And this is the part of the segment that I want to talk about that follows along with that. Those of you who got PhDs, those of you who got high degrees, okay, we understand that shows you have a lot of discipline, and that shows a lot of character, a lot of good characteristics. But that does not mean you are better, because you got something you good at and you got something you garbage at. I got some selective tiny things that I'm good at, and I got some stuff where, man, I couldn't even tell you. And so we're going to need some of you guys to step up, and we're going to need some of you guys' help. So if you have a PhD and you have a high degree, please reach out to us. We have a couple PhDs on board already. But if you're out there, because the game that we're playing is not a normal person's game, and I'm gonna break that down according to me. Now, so we're gonna need you guys to step up. The people with the high degrees, we're gonna need you guys. If you guys coming, that'll make things a lot easier for us. If we gotta just get the regular everyday people and Walmart workers, if that's what we gotta deal with, then that's what we gotta deal with. But we calling out anybody that got a high degree in anything. It don't matter what it is. Because when you're dealing with the matrix, you have to deal with the matrix in a certain sense. And when you're dealing with the public, and especially when you're dealing with our people, you have to deal with us in a certain sense. And this is how information begin to be taught, and people can sink it in. Now, if you do have a high degree or some nice degree somewhere out there in the community, please contact us. You got datadogs33@gmail.com. You got chiefholiday@gmail.com. Let us know what you got a degree in, so we can figure out a way to help the people in your degree. And this is one of the points that I wanted to make. Now, one of the reasons why that is very tactical is because we have to understand the way the flow of information. The character, your character and your information plays two different roles. And people need to understand that we're fighting a different game. Now, also I want to say, when you see, I want to bring your attention to something that we call like SEO, search engine optimization. Now, when you see somebody out there that has Aboriginal in their title, give them a thumbs up. Give them a thumbs up. Because we're going to send a signal to the matrix, and we're going to send a signal to the optimization, and we want to let them know we know. So even if they're talking bad about Aboriginal, if it's Aboriginal, fake Indian, Albo, anything that concerns us, whether they're talking good or bad, if you see that in their title, give them a thumbs up. What that does is that encourages them to talk about us a lot more, because we want everybody talking about us. We want everybody talking about us, whether it's good or bad. We just want the conversation about us. That's what we want, because we about to start going into the mainstream, you guys. So we have to start getting ready for the mainstream information and the mainstream discussions. We have to start getting ready. Now, I myself, I try my best to bring some professionalism to this. Even though I'm probably one of the goofiest, silliest dudes you ever met in your life, I'm trying, okay? I'm trying to. Because we finna get ready to go into the mainstream. The conscious community, they can't hold us anymore. We done shred through all their platforms. So again, if you see somebody on YouTube with the word Aboriginal, Indian, anything that involves us, give them a thumbs up, whether they're talking good or whether they're talking bad, because we want to send a search SEO search engine optimization up there to the clouds. That's where that's one of the things we're going to do. So keep that in mind. Now, another thing I want to address is that we're calling out the vets. Anybody who's a vet, Vietnam vet, we're calling you guys out up to plate, because we need to, we want to work with y'all, because everything's just going in waves. We want to figure out how we can help y'all, how you can help us. What can you teach and things like that. So if you are a vet, give somebody a call. A1, Jaguar, AP, anybody. Give us a call. chiefholiday@gmail.com, datadolls33@gmail.com. Give us a call. Also, those of you who's been who's been actually calling Aboriginal Consulting for your, for your ideas, keep that going. Keep that going, you guys, because we're out here and we working, and it separates us, because we're out here trying to get those ideas. So keep those going. We appreciate those calls. Keep those phone lines going. Let's get your ideas on the flow. Let's get your ideas out there. Let's get them on the flow. Now, all the opposing people and opposing views, they're watching, and they don't care. But if they smell money over here, that dude Tadata gotta go, fam. I'm sorry. If they smell money over here, hey man, we can't have no money being made over there. So it's gonna get pretty ugly, you guys. So just be on the lookout for that. It's gonna get pretty ugly, because money is starting to being a little made and things like that, and numbers are going up. So that's gonna intimidate a lot of people, because they feel like they made this, so all the money should be coming to me, or I should be getting some of it. you know. But anyway, let's go ahead and go to the point. So we're calling out anybody with a high degree. We calling out anybody that's a vet. And we calling out anybody that has a business location, a physical address. So these are the 3 people we're calling out this week. And so keep the information rolling, and we here. Now, understand this. We're about to get ready and cut in the mainstream, you guys. I want you to understand that. We finna go mainstream. That's our next move. You know what I'm saying? We're above the conscious community squabble. And I don't mean that like we're better. We just mean like, okay, now that we checkmated them, what's next? It's to go to the mainstream. So this is how the mainstream works according to me. The mainstream works with the character of the content is more important than the content. The character of the content is more important than the content. I'm going to say that one more time. The character of the content is more important than the actual content. So when you're dealing with the mainstream, this is going to be something that's very, very difficult for this community to handle. You understand? Now, for example, I'm going to give you an example. When Michael Brown got shot, they say Michael Brown was a drug dealer. What goes around comes around. So his character is more important. That somebody emptied the clip at him is more important. When Trayvon Martin got killed, murdered. Matter of fact, I should say when Michael Brown got murdered. Let me emphasize that. When Michael Brown got murdered, they say, well, he was a drug dealer. So what? That's what they say. And when I mean they, I mean mainstream. When Trayvon Martin got killed, murdered, they say, well, he had weed in his system and his height had something to do with it. So he was a 6 foot 17-year-old who was high. So or something. So hey, what goes around comes around. So the character is more important. And this is very, very difficult for this community to handle. And this is why we're going to need a lot more professionals to step up, and people with high degrees, because your character is more important than the information that you're spewing. Matter of fact, if anybody remember when Tariq Nasheed went on one of those shows, the guy said, hey man, you wrote a book called The Art of the Macking. So what he's did is he's assassinating Tariq Nasheed's character and not even focusing on the information. Because remember, the character is more important than the information. Understand that. We're going mainstream. We finna put a SEO search engine modification in the internet of America. So if anybody make a video, make sure you put the word Aboriginal in it. Aboriginal this, Aboriginal that. Just make a video. Just make a video and just film some birds. Just put that name in it. Everybody just make a video and don't even say nothing on it. Just make one. Cause we playing with the Matrix, you guys. So understand what I'm saying. Now if you guys in this, we in this. I'm in it. I'm ready to go. But I can't sit around trying to debate Brother Garfield. I can't sit around trying to, gain some points with some peers. I gotta be moving. I gotta see progress Otherwise, I gotta move on. So understand that. So when A1 say our pyramids are older, they say, well, you have a criminal record. Done. When Ty Data say, well, you know, we were here before you, they say, well, you a swirler. Ty Data, gone. When AP, Aboriginal Power, say, hey man, my lineage go back to my tribe, they say, man, you sound like Gucci man. We can't take you serious. You know, you got gold teeth, drive a Cadillac or something like that. So that's how it's gonna get, y'all. So we're fighting a character's game when we're dealing with mainstream. We're fighting a character's game. Chief Holiday say, well, shit, Harriet Tubman don't exist. And they say, well, man, you got a criminal history. We haven't seen your face enough. It doesn't. His information doesn't mean shit. Information means nothing. It's your character when you're dealing with the mainstream. Now you see how they did Mike Brown. He's a drug addict. Empty the clip. Who cares? Who cares? He deal drugs. It's okay to empty a fucking clip in him. Now just imagine what they gonna do to us. So we need our PhDs, and we're gonna have to get behind one of these PhDs, one of these high degrees. We have some on deck, but guess what? We have isolated ourselves because of some of the radical views that's here. And I want to address this. Now, I'm real serious when I say this. Now, because of some of the radical views and some of the radical statements and some of the radical comments, they're always going to get the most amount of attention. Who's ever radical. Now, there's people going around saying, fuck Africans. Africans are dumb. Africans stink. Africans this. Africans that. And that's what everybody's listening to. They not listening to their recording of Ruth Shady on a recording saying how old those pyramids is. They not listening to that. They're listening to the radicals. To these radical dudes come straight off the streets, and now they game banking Aboriginal. Now welcome home, brothers, that you have found somewhere that you feel comfortable with. But we're going into the mainstream, and we're going to have to keep the radical views in the back chat or just out of the way, period. One of the arguments that the Afrocentrics like to make is they like to argue the most radical view that they can find. And they believe that we are a cult and we have a leader and everybody believe the radical people. Now, when Chief Holiday say, well, Harriet Tubman don't exist. So now they say, well, the Aboriginals believe Harriet Tubman don't exist. No, Chief Holiday believe Harriet Tubman don't exist. Now, unless you can find something to refute that, then don't go paint no broad brush. Because understand, this movement is so new and it's so sophisticated, and it's still growing and it's still finding its pieces and it's still getting it. It's hard to take down and it's hard to argue because everybody is different. Everybody is their own people. And this is very difficult for people to understand because they're used to dealing with people of the book who all have the same ideology. They used to dealing with people with certain philosophy and certain menus and manuals and things that they have to follow. So if I attack one thing in your book, I attack everybody that believes in that book. But see, when you're dealing with the Aboriginal culture, when you attack a claim, you only attacking one person's claim, family. So you debunking one person if you debunk them. That doesn't negate the fact that we were here first and we got to do something and go forward. And so that's very difficult for them to handle. And it's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for the mainstream to handle. But eventually we're going to need some high degrees to step up. People say, what, Dr. David Imhotep? Well, some people say, well, he's pseudo. He got sued over a broken boot, or he had a fender bender in 1966 and he didn't pay. He didn't pay. So they're going to have something to say about your character, because your character is the most important things. When Lex Vortex hit you with some knowledge, they say, oh man, he used to live in a car, man. You know, he used to live in a Jeep or something, or blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about the knowledge though, fam? We don't care. The mainstream is not going to give a flying about your knowledge. So we're going to have to get behind one of these PhDs, whether you like it or not, if you want to go dealing with the matrix. Because what they're telling the PhDs, what the PhD is telling them is that I know what you know. So it's a different story. You see, it's a different story. You see what I'm saying? They're telling them, I know what you know. But when I say something, or A1 say something, Tadata's a swirler coon. A1, A1, he don't show his face. So his knowledge, it doesn't count to the mainstream. And so I want y'all to understand that. So we're going to have to get behind one of the PhDs. But because the radicals done isolated us, it's going to be difficult. And I don't even think we have any. Anybody out there got a high degree? It don't have to be a PhD. It just has to be a degree. It don't matter. Out there. Now I know we got some on deck. You know what I'm saying? We got, you know what I'm saying? We do got some on deck. We got like Brother Kansu and a couple other brothers who got PhDs who we haven't ran off yet. But because of the radical views, he don't want to be bothered with this shit. He's a businessman with the PhD. He can't be in the same, you know what I'm saying, group with some dudes out there talking about death to Africans and all that type of shit. Like he can't, you know what I'm saying, like what type of bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Nobody. And so, but the radical speech has isolated us. Say what you want to say about the Afrocentrics, but they got some degrees for your ass. Say what you want, but they got some degrees. Now the degrees represents their interaction with the matrix. It doesn't mean that these people are the boss of everybody, and this doesn't mean that they're smarter than everybody, because everybody got something that they're smart in and everybody got something that they're dumb in, but together we know everything and we're the best at everything, and that's together. But you get the breaking off, it's different. So but because of some of the radical views, we ran off the PhDs. Because of the radical views, we ran off all the people, and now we isolated. Now we isolated. With all this fighting and all this shit that we've been doing and all this back and forth, we done messed around and isolated ourselves, and now we on a little island by ourselves, and now we're going to need some help. And because of some of the radical views. But let's go ahead and get the radical views, because understand, when you got people out there with radical views, that's their view. Well, if Tadata say, let's say if Tadata say death to the Jew, that don't mean everybody I know say that. That don't mean every Aboriginal say that. Ty Data said that shit. So this is one thing that's hard for people to understand. And so I invite the PhDs, even the Afrocentric ones, to come over and help us deal with the mainstream, whether you like it or not. Well, nah, you gotta be real with it. You gotta be real with it. But you gotta be open to the information. Like some of the brothers that we know. You see, like the brother Kansu, he has a lineage that go back to Africa. He has a lineage that go back to a tribe in America. And so trying to make him choose one, like nigga, you either gonna be Aboriginal, nigga, or you gonna be an African. It's so insulting, y'all. That is insulting of someone's intelligence. That is radical as fuck. You know what I'm saying? That is radical as hell. You know? And so we run people like that away. No man, I don't want shit to do with that, man. Them dudes are clowns. And you can't help but to understand it. You know? So now another thing I want to talk about real quick is that this weekend we're going to be having a 48-hour live stream. 48 hours. Now, I only got permission from a couple people to go get their videos. That's it. I only got a couple people. So, I don't want to be listening to 3 different people for 2 days. So, if you got a channel, or you know a channel, or suggest a channel, or you got some content, if you got some commercials, if you got some advertising, some boots, some books, whatever you have, hit us up, datadawgs33@gmail.com, chiefholiday@gmail.com, and so we can get your products out there. It's not going to be a cost to anything because we're practicing, because we finna get our own 24-hour non-stop network, and we're practicing. So whatever content you got, we don't care. Afrocentric, Italian, Chinese, Ethiopian, whatever, we don't care. Just give us your content and we would like to put it. Right now we would like it to be at least 45 minutes to an hour long. But if you have a commercial or product that you would like to get out there, please let us please send it to us so that way we can get it out there. It's going to be 48 hours. We're going 2 days straight, non-stop, killing the game. Now, this is a pioneer. This is pioneering. This is taking a step forward the future. I encourage other people to try to do it too. I encourage other people to say, to try to do a day. I encourage other people to try it. Because we're moving forward. And our movement represent moving forward, the forward movement of our people. That's what we want to represent. We don't want to represent some radical ass dude and shit on a motorcycle, you know, call himself somebody out here talking as if he the leader of the Aboriginals, some shit. No, it's individuals. We got 2 things we believe in. We know we were here first before them. And we know what we know we have to do something to get out of it. Now, how we got here, that's something for the African Central. That's something for them to argue. And matter of fact, I'm going to get on that after I'm done. We're going to get on that. Now, so don't forget about that. We're doing 48 hours. We're going 2 days non-stop. And it's going to be mostly Aboriginal philosophy. But we don't want it all. We want some of everything. Moors come out, Hebrews come out, Flat Earthers come out, Jehovah's Witnesses come out and play. Everybody come out and play. Because when we build this network, it is a universal network. It is a international network. It is not a Aboriginal network. It might have the Aboriginals' best interests. But that don't mean it's only Aboriginals. It might have Pan-Africans' best interests, but that don't mean it's all Pan-African. So, so I want to get that out there. Now, even some of the elders come to me and they say, "Hey, man, that's dope. That's new. That's sort of new. Or that's sort of pioneering." Now, you don't get that a lot in the conscious community. Pioneers is usually a lot of, I'm just gonna one up you, and you one up me, not way over the board. And so, this is a big deal. This is going to be a big deal whether you like it or not. It's going to be a big deal. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the argument. Now, how we got here is an argument for the Afrocentrics because they need to empower their information. Now, all of us, we know we don't. Ooh, they got us offline. Okay. Are we offline? Are we offline? Are we back on? Let me know if we back on. Are we back on? Because I did see the signal get weak. Ashley D, are we back on, family? We should be back on. I see the green and I see the green. Okay, we back. Okay. Now, the reason, so we want to let you know that if you want to debunk some little ass argument that some random ass person made, you go right ahead. But if you want to destroy, and if you can destroy Aboriginal philosophy, Aboriginal science, you have to destroy the simple fact that we were here before they got here. Now, if you want to prove where we come from, you go right ahead. It still doesn't negate the fact that we were here before they got here. Now, one of the only reasons that many people want to argue that point and not the main point is because they want to empower themselves and empower they want to empower themselves. Now, that is nothing wrong with that, you guys. That is nothing wrong with that, for one. But if they want to move forward and they want to see what's in the future ahead, we can't do that. I'm sorry. If you are an Afrocentric person, we cannot tell you exactly what's ahead. But we do know that you swimming in the same pissy pool that we're swimming in. Whether you got a PhD, whether you got a master's degree, or whether you got 9-figure bank income, you're still in the same pissy pool that we are in. So think about that for a second. Okay? You got a high degree. Hey, I went to Harvard. I was in a such a class. I did it. Okay, well, your Harvard educated ass is still swimming in the same pissy ass pool as Tad Data. Your master degree in philosophy and psychology and all the hell and whatever the hell you can, that's cool. I respect that. But you still swimming in the same pissy pool as Chief Holiday. Oh man, I got this type of car. I do cars every day. I got this much money in the bank. I'm opening up a new restaurant. I got my own calculator coming out. I'm doing this. Okay, that's cool. But you still swimming in the same pissy ass pool that A1 is swimming in. So when you understand that, now hopefully that'll help you to better your arguments and to think and swallow your pride and swallow your education and go with the flow of the people. Because if we hopped on the boat and we say, hey y'all, we don't know what's on the other side. We just know we don't want to be in this pissy pool no more. Now on the other side, there can be a bunch of alligators and sharks ready to eat us up. On the other side, there can be a paradise over there with a bunch of women over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm a guy, so just bear with me. Bunch of hot little women or something over there, and a bunch of food and a bunch of fruit and everything over there. It could be either or. Are you hopping on the boat, or are you gonna stay in the same pissy pool? So this is what this boils down to. Both cultures, Aboriginal and Afrocentrics, because the Aboriginals are ready to create a boat, and we're finna sail. Now, whether we're going sailing into a pool of sharks, or whether we're sailing to paradise, we don't know. But we do know the way we living right now, we're not accepting it. So whether you want to cling on to Africa or Aboriginal, when that boat leave, you going. You going. African or not, you going. So quit with the bullshit. You leaving when we leave. You moving when we moving. Now let's quit with the bullshit. Now I'm going to shred down your shit. So now we can move forward. Check it out. So we're gonna deal with a little bit of philosophy, and we're gonna deal with some claims. And the reason why we're gonna deal with this is we're gonna let you know the psychology and the psychology of our people and where they at. Now you as an Aboriginal, you are in a higher vibration. Well, I can't say higher, I'm sorry. You are in a different vibration than the average person. Average one of us. You vibrate a little bit different. That don't mean it's better. That just means it's different. Your consciousness is a little bit different than everybody else's. Doesn't mean it's greater. Doesn't mean it's better. It's just a little bit different. You have a different way. You have a different vibration as an Aboriginal, and you have a different how can I say, you soak information in a little bit different. Now I'm gonna make an argument, and I'm gonna show you this, and I'm gonna explain to you this so people can understand. And so when we get ready to go to the mainstream, the Afrocentrics can understand what's going on. Now see, they don't know that they're using now most people know them as white supremacists. That's what they call them, white supremacists. I don't feel comfortable using the words white supremacists because they're not supremacists. They're not supreme. I use the word white survivalists. Now the reason why I use the word like white survivalists is because they're always on the brink of extinction. So their whole paradigm boils down to one thing, is how to survive on this planet. That's their whole argument. That's their whole paradigm. Their only existing is to keep surviving on this planet. Now, from the time they got here until now, they've been trying to figure out new ways to try to survive and evolve. Whether it's robot parts, magnetic parts, our melanin, all types of different ways to try to survive. And I don't mean this as no insult. And if you want to argue that in the comment box and you want to talk to me about it, sure, you go right ahead. But this is my opinion. They've been trying to survive since they got here. And so I call them survivalists because they're trying to figure out a way that they can maintain in the future. This is why they say, well, we need to close the borders because they're going to wipe us out. Or we need to put Ebola and AIDS over there because they're growing. We need to drop a bomb on Japan, or we need to do this and we need to do that because we gonna be wiped out. They whole culture is based on how can they survive on this planet. That's it. So it is very, simple of me to call them white survivalists, emphasizing the fact that you're on the brink of extinction and you're just trying to find a way to stay here. So when you hear me say that, you can, if you say white supremacist, you can go ahead and just you can understand that's what I mean. Now when you're dealing when you're dealing with the white survivalists and when you're dealing with the Pan-Africans, their talking points is exactly the same. Now our Afrocentric brothers does not understand this is because of the vibration that they are on and the thought process, the way they process information. Not saying it's lower or not saying it's higher, just saying it's different from the people who's in the Aboriginal, who got into this Aboriginal consciousness. And they don't understand that. They don't understand that they are arguing. Okay, they are arguing another brother with their best interests, but they don't know it and they can't see it because they're so deep indoctrinated and they're so indoctrinated with their philosophy that they can't even swallow the information because it will shape their personality. Now when you agree with something and you believe something, that shapes your personality. Now I call it a portal. When you spit some information and some people believe it, I say it's like a portal. Like words are like a portal. This is me, like a portal. So when you say a word, it opens up a portal. And so when a person goes through the portal, they have two choices: either believe it or don't believe it. But if you believe it, it will shape your personality. So it can shape your personality. If I sit here, for example, if I sit here and I say, well, all white people got tails. And if you believe that, you will go your whole entire life believing that until you denounce it. So it will shape your personality. So this knowledge and this information that we are saying, we are shaping people's personality. Now, I don't think the average person out there understands that type of philosophy because it get deep, fam. Your boy Ty Data Cyborgs, I can't say I get deep, but I can say I'm into some stuff. Okay? I'm into some stuff. I know a little bit of stuff that can be useful. So when you are arguing with the white survivalists, they cannot soak on your information. Bye. They cannot take on your information, because if they take and believe your information, it will change their mind and it will shape their personality. Now let me say this one more time. When you arguing with a white survivalist, if you say something and they believe it, it will shape their personality and it will change their mind. So what they have to do is they have to have a argument against everything you say, so that way it will block your portal. When you shoot those words out and they get to block it with a rebuttal, that they believe, who someone told them and they believe, shaping their personality. So if I go to a if I go to a white survivalist and I say black people smell better. Now, if they believe that, they're going to go their whole entire life believing that, and it's going to shape their personality. You understand? So what they have to do is they have to put up a shield, because their brain is not going to allow some, they call us African in their brain. So now we in their mind. So he would call me an African. So you're not going to let an African shape his personality. So he would put up a shield from my portal, and he would say, well, if that's true, why come such and such and such? So now he just blocked my information. He just blocked my portal. He just blocked my spell. He just blocked my words, my comments, from taking over his personality. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, this same method is the same method that the Afrocentric community is using to argue us. But they don't understand that our arguments put holes in the white survivalist arguments. So while we are arguing the white survivalists, they are arguing us with the white survivalist information. And they don't know it, y'all. They don't know it. And even if they do know it, the ones who do know it, they just can't believe it. They're not gonna let Dan Calloway shape their personality. You know what I'm saying? You got some of them dudes out there with PhDs. They're not gonna let A1 shape their personality. I don't care what the information is about. I am not gonna let this guy, this dude, shape my personality. I've been this way for 30-something years. I am not let some new dude think he call himself the cyborg, whatever the hell he think he is. You know what I'm saying? I am not gonna let him shape my personality. So I will use the white survivalist talking points to block his portals. Now I'm going to give you a perfect example. Let's get into it. Now, when it comes to the pyramids, when you hear all these Aboriginal people talk about pyramids, the reason why they're talking about them is because they're trying to emphasize that there was activity over here in America that predates activity over there in Africa. Now, this is why we bring up the pyramids. We're not bringing up the pyramids because we're trying to have a fucking measuring contest and some shit, or who digs the better and who digs bigger and whose technology's better. We're just simply trying to say there was organized people over here before organized people in Africa. Now, one of the white survivalist talking points, this is one of their talking points, is that African people are dumber than everybody else, because in sub-Saharan Africans, they didn't have any ancient civilization structures that was 2 or 3 stories high. There was no sign of a civilization in sub-Saharan Africa. And because they are some of the oldest people on the planet, now this is their information. So think I'm the white supremacist and I'm telling you my views. Because The Africans are the oldest people on the planet. They didn't start building structures until they got to Egypt or around that area. Now, because I am a hardcore white supremacist, Egypt is not even Africa in my book. It is the Middle East. You see, it is the Middle East. Now, I'm a hardcore one. Now, I'm not a wishy-washy one. I'm a hardcore one. So therefore, sub-Saharan Africans, you guys never even built anything, and you guys was walking around here like dumb-ass monkeys, you know, like dumb-ass monkeys for centuries and thousands of years without even building without even no sign of a civilization or a community-based structure. Now, this is what the white survivalists say. Until you got to over there in Sudan, until you got to over there in Egypt, that's when you started building. And we don't even know if those was y'all. Those was Middle Eastern people. That wasn't even y'all. That's their argument. Now, check out the holes in their argument now that the Aboriginal science is here. When they use that argument and they say, well, you guys have a lower IQ because in sub-Saharan Africa, you guys haven't built any structures. But now me as an Aboriginal, I gonna say, well, what about the stuff in Brazil? What about the pyramids in Brazil? What about the pyramids in in Peru? What about the pyramids in Guatemala? Who built those? Melanated people built those. So now I just shredded the white survivalist argument, because his argument is that you people are dumb because you guys are the oldest people and you ain't even built a two-story building. You never even built a two-story building till you got way up north and mingled with the Middle Easterns. That's their argument. But then when we put in there the mounds in Brazil, okay, the mounds in Peru, Guatemala, Mexico, when we start bringing those up, now the white survivalists have to change his math around. Otherwise, he's going to swallow that portal and he's going to go home and he's going to be a different person because he done got a hold of the cyborg and gave his ass some math to go mess with. So now he got to go back to the drawing board and figure out a way he could stop himself from swallowing that information. But see, now this is what happens when we deal with the Afrocentrics. Before I do that, I'm going to break this down as simple as possible so everybody, every generation can understand. Now, when I was younger, let's say 1990, we played something called the Nintendo. Now, the Nintendo was some of the top technology that we had during those times. And because I used to play the Nintendo, it was very fun and it was top of the line technology at that time. Now, and that was, let's just say 1990, okay, 1989 to be exact, but we gonna go 1990 because we want our math to be simple. Now, my son, he's 18 years old. He was born in the year 2000. He played the Xbox. The technology in the Xbox is way more advanced than the Nintendo. So when I tell my son, hey man, I've been playing video games since you were born. I know all the tricks and trades. I've been playing video games since you was born. And then my son turned to me and say, state your sources. Prove it. So I then go and I bring up the Nintendo. And he look at the Nintendo and he say, you guys ain't got no internet. You guys ain't got no direction pad. You ain't got no remote control. And you're watching 2D. That's garbage. Get that out of here. That don't count. Now, some of the points that he made was correct. The technology of the Nintendo is way less than the technology of the Xbox. But because of the state and because the time that the Nintendo was made, that was the top technology. But it still doesn't negate the fact that I've been playing games longer than you, family. Sure, we might not have internet. We might not have a direction pad. We might not, we might not have a wireless remote control, but we were still playing video games before you. And this is the point we're trying to make when we bring up the pyramids. Okay? That same point. So the next time an Aboriginal call you on the phone and he say, our pyramids are older, and you say, state your source. And they say, they state their source and they say, hey, look at the ones in Brazil. And you say, hey, man, that ain't no pyramid. Man, that's a pile of garbage. That's dumb. Now, you look dumb. Because the point of bringing up the pyramids to let you know we've been playing the game longer than you. That's the point. But they don't wanna argue the point. They wanna break down the Nintendo and clown my Nintendo now. You got Xbox, you wanna clown my Nintendo. Blowing in the cartridges and shit. Fan in the cartridge. I used to put them in the freezer. Sometimes we used to take our mom fingernail polish remover and we would take a little Q-tip and we would clean a little dirt out in the inside of the cartridge. Clean the little thing in the inside. Pop that Nintendo down. Yeah, so they want to clown that. And you can. And maybe you're right. But guess what? It still not negate the fact that we've been playing longer than you. So clown all you want. Talk about the pyramids all you want. Because the arguments of the pyramids is that we had 2-story. We had 2-3-story monuments, buildings, structure, civilization that the white survivalists say we didn't have. So now we just cracked their argument in half. But for some reason, our own Afrocentric brothers, they say, no, man, the white survivalists are right. We didn't start making pyramids. We didn't start making pyramids until we got to Giza or Sudan or something. So they on the same side now. You see what I'm saying? That's what they don't understand. They don't understand that. Because they think we're after them and we're fighting them, or we gearing up to fight them. We way over you guys. That little, oh, well, white people are smarter because you guys didn't invent any structures until the late 1400s or something. That argument is gone. But now, some of the Afrocentric brothers and sisters want to make that claim. So whether it was a pile of bubble gum, whether it was made of plastic, whether it was made of mud, because chances are those was the technology they had back then, family. So nobody's trying to say that the Nintendo is better than the Xbox. Oh, the pyramids of Giza was lined up perfectly with the stars. The pyramids of Giza had 10-ton stones. It had a trap door with an alarm clock in the middle. And it is so great. Okay, we give you that. But it still doesn't negate the fact that we've been playing longer than you. Okay? We've been in the game longer than you. And the technology what we had, maybe all we had was mound technology. We didn't have the technology to build the pyramids. Maybe that's why. Or maybe, hey, you know, hey, maybe we just wanted to build something else. But it doesn't negate the fact that we were building structures in America over here before Africa. So unless you can debunk that claim, then you might want to take some of these little radical comments and continue to debunk them. Them little radical comments people spit out here and there, finish debunking those. Because we're ready for the mainstream. Well, we're getting ready for the mainstream. That's what we're doing. But you're helping the mainstream because you're arguing their points against your own brother. We arguing them. Hey, we were here before you got here. And you got some Afrocentric brothers that can say, no, you won't, man. You came on a boat, fam. Like, fam. Like, try to wink at the brother like, what the fuck you doing, fam? Like, I'm finna knock this motherfucker. Like, what are you doing? I'm finna clown this clown. And you clowning me. You know? It kind of reminds me, I remember I watched a clip a long time ago with Muhammad Ali, and there was some kind of actor or some kind of guy in a rock band. Two brothers. And it was a Roman in the middle. And the Roman was asking some questions. And Muhammad Ali was asking the questions, you know, yeah, man, you know, blah, 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 blah. And the brother was over there like, nah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, wait a minute. Like, no, we can't do it. Muhammad Ali looked at him like, look, bro, I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue with another brother in front of these white people. That's pretty much what he said. Muhammad Ali was a bad dude. Quit playing. Stop lying to yourself if you think. He said, hey, man, I'm not gonna argue with another brother right here in front of these people. The other brother was getting all hostile, like trying to pick apart Muhammad Ali's argument. At some point, you gotta think to yourself is, why is this brother trying to make Muhammad Ali look bad so hard? Is he trying to make himself look good? Or does somebody put a battery in his back and say, hey, come on my show, we want you to argue Muhammad Ali? What? You want me to argue Muhammad Ali? Are you dumb? I mean, we can go to a bar or something, me and him could get in a little argument, but I'm not finna go on TV and shit and argue fucking Muhammad Ali. Like, who the fuck do that? Unless there's some weird shit going on. And that's kind of what that remind me of when I see these brothers in their little arguments and their little, you know, statements and little comments. That same brother who was, I wish I had that clip. If somebody could send me that clip, fam, send me that clip. I want to play that. If anybody could find that clip when that brother was arguing with Muhammad Ali over some dumbass shit in front of white people, really trying to get hostile. If anybody could find me that clip, please find it and let me let's get it in. Now, another video I want you guys to see is I want you guys to understand a lot more closely of what's going over there in Egypt. I can't see the chat right now, you guys. So give me a couple seconds. Hold your, if you found that clip of that dude arguing Muhammad Ali, hold it, because I can't see the chat. Now, this is something I want you guys to listen to. It's going to take a couple minutes, and I want you to understand the context of some of the Aboriginal philosophy and some of the things of what's going on. So I'm going to play this little clip right here, and hopefully everybody can hear it. Let's get it in.
Egyptian archaeologists are furious with the Sudanese minister's remarks about the pyramids. Egypt's best-known Egyptologist Zahi Hawass says that Othman's remarks are false and baseless.
This man should read the pyramids, or the Marwatic pyramids, are dated to dynasty 25, and that is the Kushite dynasty, which is about 2,400 years ago. Now, look at the pyramids of Egypt. The oldest pyramid that we have in the world is the Step Pyramid of Djoser. Number two, we do have 123 pyramids from the Old and the Middle Kingdom. All these pyramids are older than the Marwatic pyramids.
Archaeologists believe that Djoser Pyramid is not only the first pyramid in the world, but also the oldest megastone structure in mankind's history. But why the fight about the pyramids? For Egypt, they are the main touristic attraction site. Tourism here has been struggling for years, so Egyptians won't take any competition lightly. Sudan, on the other hand, has been restoring its pyramids in Meroe, hoping it could turn to a touristic attraction. Many here, like Mr. Hawass, believe that Sudan's remarks were to bring attention to their ancient antiquities. Othman didn't stop at the pyramids. He also claimed the pharaoh mentioned in the Exodus with Moses was Sudanese, not Egyptian, and that Sudan used to rule Egypt in ancient times.
The Sudanese ruled us for one dynasty in the period, but all the Egyptian history, we ruled the Sudanese.
What made Othman's remarks more irritating is that they followed the visit by Princess Moza of Qatar, a rival to the current Egyptian administration. Qatar is funding the restoration program for Sudan's pyramids. That's maybe why the issue was so sensitive to many here. Adel Mahroui, CGTN, Cairo.
Okay. Now, I don't know if you understand that, but there's something I want you to understand about that, and it's something very important that you need to understand about that. Now, I don't know how old is this this video. I don't know if it's been debunked. I don't know nothing about it, but I do know that the guy said that the pyramids in Egypt is not trying to accept any competition. Anybody saying that their pyramids are older, because they have a lot of money riding on those pyramids in Egypt, and they had a lot of money riding on people. A lot of money riding on Afrocentric philosophy, Afrocentric things, and so us in Aboriginal, we need to be able to respect that. I know there are some radicals out here, and people say, man, fuck everybody else, fuck the Africans, fuck this, fuck that. Okay, that's cool for a certain period of time, and that's cool in a certain environment. But when it's time to get real, and when it's time to get to the mainstream, we're gonna have to step our game up, you guys. Data's trying to go mainstream, so you might have to see me on Fox News or some shit, or somebody. You might have to see one of us up there interacting with Bill Clinton or somebody. You might have to see one of us up there interacting with, one of these white survivalists. And so I assure you that they don't want none of the cyborg. I assure you that. So I count myself out. But somebody is going to have to take it up professional and take it to the middle of the matrix. Now, who that person is, I don't know. I don't think I'm fit. I think I'm keen enough, and I might be smart enough, slick enough, and I know enough to have a conversation. But to deal with a full-fledged, matrix-minded, white survivalist, I don't think. Well, personally, yeah, I know I dogged him, but I think there's people out there that is more suitable than somebody like me. But somebody's gonna have to be that guy. Whether it's Dane Calloway, Chief Holiday, somebody's gonna have to be that guy to take it to the matrix. Now, but one point of that video, he made it very clear that the statements and the information that he was spewing about the Egyptian pyramids, it was like a commercial to him, to Egypt. He was like on an infomercial trying to sell you Egypt, trying to sell you the Egyptian pyramids. But then you got the people next door in Sudan. They trying to sell you Sudan pyramids. So now they saying, well, you know, Moses was over here with us. The other people say, no, man, Moses was with us, fam. What are you talking about? Because people gonna go where the oldest pyramids, and people gonna go where the biblical stuff at, and people gonna go where the most controversy and wow, it's spectacular stuff at. And so this also brings me back to this image right here. Don't nobody want to visit their towns. Don't nobody want to see what they doing. Don't nobody want to honor them. Don't nobody want to give them a hand. But what they will do, they will sell you Egypt. And they will sell you to Sudan, Morocco, Iraq, Iran, Israel. They will sell you that shit. Whether their philosophy is 100% true or 100% garbage, they will sell it to you. Now, when it comes to the pyramids over there, the oldest pyramids over there, who was made by King such and such a Kentucky, understand that there were structures over here and there was activity over here way before Pharaoh Kentucky, Hotep the third, the fifth, way before your great-great-grandma was born. We, on the other hand, was in the game. See, that's what they don't understand. Way before the pyramids of Sudan, built by King Hotep, Host Please Teach, or whatever. Way before that, we was in the game. Whether it was a pile of shit, a pile of spit, or a pyramid of plastic, it doesn't negate the fact that we were in the game. Whether you believe that I am a direct ancestor of those people, or whether you believe I mingled with those people, or whether you believe I don't have nothing, no interaction with those people, that's up to you, family. We're not trying to sell you, okay, the pyramids over here in Brazil. We're not trying to sell you that. We're trying to simply show you They're selling you their pyramids. They're selling you their philosophy because they survivalists. Their survival depend on it. Do you understand what I'm saying, family? Their survival depends on it. Now, when you have our own people trying to sell us Egypt, you're doing the same thing that dude just did. He trying to sell Egypt. Sudan trying to sell Sudan. These people finna go to war because he bumped this date up 2,200 years before. Like, what you talking about, family? That ain't right. So the people in Egypt, they bump theirs up and say, no, man, we bumped theirs up one. They bumped theirs up 1 year and 1 day. You know what I'm saying? Let me quit playing. They bumped theirs up. It ain't gonna cut it. It ain't gonna cut it. So for the Aboriginal people and the Aboriginal movement, if y'all ready to move, or the Aboriginal philosophy, whatever name you have for it, if y'all ready to move, we gotta be ready to move, because we finna go to the Matrix. We're taking our fight to the Matrix. We ran through the Afrocentrics. 3 months. They're done. But keep them talking about us, because we want to let them, the SEO know, the search engine optimization, we want to let them know. Remember that. Anybody that use the word Aboriginal in their title, give them a thumbs up, whether you like them or not. Whether if that's your arch enemy or not, give him a thumbs up. Encourage him to keep that name going. You yourself make a video with the name Aboriginal, Albo, fake Indian, wannabe Indian, anything that deals with us, give them a thumbs up. Because for one, we want to encourage them to keep talking about us, and for two, we want to send a message. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Has been your boy Ty Data, the cyborg, coming at you with Aboriginal news today. Now, if you are a vet, or someone that holds a legit degree, or if you are a business owner of a business location with an actual location, please send me an email, datadolls33@gmail.com, chiefholiday@gmail.com. You can also catch us on the TribeUp app. You can get you a nice little subscription, and I'm on there, and the Lakeisha network is on there. And so I want to let the people know that we're not playing. I don't know about y'all, but I'm not here to try to argue with my fellow brothers. I'm not here to try to make Black Jesus look like a fool or something. I'm not here for that. I'm here to start building. That's all. That's it. Whether you believe it or not, that's on you. But that's all I'm here for. And I don't feel like I need to say fuck Africa. I don't feel like I need to say fuck everybody else in the world. But those of you who feel like that, that's your own prerogative. And those of you who see that, that's their prerogative. That's not everybody. So be very carefully and calculated with your moves. And let's try to keep the radical stuff down. And understand that your character is more important than your content when you're dealing with the Matrix. If they can shoot a man up and justify it because he had a blunt. Just imagine what they'd do to you. Did somebody just say Bill what? Okay, you must be new here, family. Yeah, you must be kind of new here. Yeah, just ask somebody else in the chat room, what are we building?
The Matrix is a system, Neo.
Because I can give you very intimate details.
When you're inside,
I can even take you to a computer-generated model,
lawyers,
architected model,
the very minds of the people we
in a minute.
save. But until we do, these people are still
But
part of that system.
let's not scare away our African brothers and sisters
Most of these people
who identify as African. They have that right.
them are so inert, so
As for those
on the system that they will.
who see our color and thinks, oh, you must be African,
Are you listening to me, Neo?
you don't understand our philosophy. Now, when we say we are Indian, that is a slang word used in our community to identify each other, like the word, what up, nigga? What up, family? What up, dog? What up, Indian? We're not literally saying that we are the Indians. It is a slang word in our community. That's what that means. Now, when we say we're Aboriginal, we're not saying we are related to the Native American population. We're not saying we have Native American population in our family. We're saying that we were already here before they got here. But for some reason, some people think Aboriginal means you got a Native American grandma somewhere down the line. You got a Native American ancestor down the line. You got it backwards. It's backwards. So when we say we're Aboriginal, we're not saying we have an Indian grandma. Now, if you want to go with me personally, and I really don't like talking about me personally, but let me see if I got a picture. Let me see if I got a picture of my mom. Now, see, my mom is actually mixed with Native American. Now, most guys don't know that because they see my dark skin. They say, oh, he's some kind of African or Ethiopian. But my mom is actually mixed. So if you think you can look at me and say, oh, that's an African, maybe I am. But that doesn't negate the fact that my mom is actually mixed. But that don't make me an Aboriginal because my mom is mixed with Native. Because my grandmother. Okay, that doesn't make me an Aboriginal. An Aboriginal don't mean that somewhere along the line in your family, man, you got some Indian lady or some Indian dude around circling around there somewhere, and so now you think you're Aboriginal family. That doesn't mean that. You don't even know the argument of the Aborigines to even try to debunk. You don't even know the argument. The argument is not I got an Indian grandma. My grandma told me she was Indian. That's not the argument. The argument is that we were here before they were here. It has nothing to do with a Native American lady in our mix. It has nothing to do with a Native American cousin or somewhere in our mix. It has nothing to do with that. So please get your arguments correctly, because you don't even understand you don't even understand what you're arguing against, and it takes off the point. Just like the pyramid of poop, it takes off the point that we was in the game. You see that Nintendo right there? You see that Nintendo right there? We was in the game before you. Debunk that. We was in the game. We was building 2-story structures before the white survivalists said we was. Does that bother you that we did that? Does it? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up, a picture of my mom. And those of you who has business ideas, keep those business ideas up and coming and up and running. Keep calling the number below, Aboriginal Consulting. Keep that up. Keep that up. We want to get busy with those ideas. You know what I'm saying? We got, you know what I'm saying? We got professional people put in place. This ain't no back alley ass. Hey nigga, check this out, nigga. I'm gonna help you out, fam. I got a bunch of fake ideas, and I got some shit that you can go back to the community and you can clown the people with. It ain't that type of deal. Okay? We got license, registrations, we got packets. We legit around here. And we take pride in being legit. Not just saying it, we take pride in that. We like to brag. We like to brag how legit we are. Not how much money we make. So, let me see if I can find a picture of my mom, because I guess some people believe that I am a full-blooded African because of my skin. And so, without seeing my parents or just looking at me, I'm not saying I have a Native American lady in my family somewhere. I'm not saying that. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying if you follow my history, man, I'm gonna come across an African American somewhere. I mean, I'm gonna come across a Native American lady somewhere. That's not the argument. The argument is that our people was here before they got here. If you wanna call it whatever you want. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pull this up, and I don't like talking about myself because I think it's pretty boring. But just to make my point, and they should know who we talking to. Now, that's my mother right there. Now, it just so happened my mother is actually mixed. Okay? My mother is actually mixed. Now, you can tell me if you see a Native American lady or if you see an African lady. It's up to you. You can say what you want to say. This right here, is when my grandma went to go get her Social Security, and her parents is on there. See? Her parents, my grandmother's parents was on there. So I have my grandmother's. Now I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to find a picture of my actual grandmother. Now, whether I am an African or a mixed mutt of it, it still doesn't separate my argument. And my argument is that we were here before them. Oh, actually, you can't see that. My bad, my bad. You can't even see that. I'm sorry. I mean, let me pull that picture back up. Yep, my bad. Here. There you go. Now you can see that. There you go. Now you can see that. Now, that's my mother right there. Okay? That's my mom. Some people say I look just like her. Now, my mother's mixed. Okay? Now, whether you see a Aboriginal lady or an African lady, that's up to your eyes. But that's not the argument. Whether she has a tribal heritage to some $5 Native American tribe somewhere, that's not the argument. Now, I don't have a picture of my grandmother, but if you see my grandmother, you'll be able to understand. You'll be able to understand a little more about my mom, because my mom is mixed. And so most people don't know that about me, because when they see me, I have to be an African. Now, when it comes to my father, maybe he was an African. Who knows? I don't care. It doesn't mean anything. All it means is that we was here before they're here. And it's very important you understand that argument to the Afrocentric brothers. Whether you like us or hate us or think we're retarded, we were here, family, before they got here. So where we came from,
The matrix is
it depends on who you talk to.
that system is our enemy. But when you're inside,
And so
look around, what do you see? Businessmen,
I want you to understand that. That's my mom right there.
very minds of
She's
the people
mixed.
we're trying to save.
Now,
But until we do,
when we say
still a part of that
that we
and that makes
are Aboriginal,
you have to understand
we are not saying, let me say this again,
ready to be unplugged.
we are not saying
So inert, so
that somewhere in our bloodline there's a Native American somewhere. I'm going to say this one more time, and I'm going to check out the chat room. I'm going to say this one more time because this people don't understand. When we say we are Aboriginal, we are not claiming that there's a Indian lady or Indian man in our family. It just so happens Ty Dater mom is actually mixed with Native American. So it's just so happened. So I don't even like talking about me, but the only reason I'm doing that is because the way Black Jesus came at me, because he just want to look at my skin and he just want to say, oh, you have to be African.
but until we do, these people
And so
of that system
that's uneducated, family.
you have to understand
You know that.
are not ready to
So
and many
when you look at my skin,
so hopelessly dependent on the
it doesn't mean
they will fight to protect it.
that I hate African.
Listening to me, Neo?
When I doesn't mean I don't hate nobody. You got me confused with the little radical dudes. I'm doing business with everybody. I guarantee you we gonna be over there owning shit in Africa before probably any Afrocentrics. I'm talking about big stuff. I'm talking about our own gold digging, our own diamond digging. I'm talking about all that. We probably gonna be doing that before y'all. And y'all Afrocentric.
Is a system, Neo,
And you don't own a gold mine there.
is our enemy. But when you're inside,
Let's make a race on that and let's make a bet on that. We're going to be over there mining and doing stuff before you do. You've been here 100 years, thousands of years, and ain't even took advantage yet.
still a part of that system.
And I don't mean took advantage of Africa.
You have to understand,
I mean took advantage of the fact that you are an African.
and many of them are so inert,
So please don't hit me with some radical ass view that you done heard on some radical ass channel. Please don't come to me with some radical ass shit that you done seen on some whacked ass channel that don't has nothing to do with Ty Data. I never made a claim, okay? But when it gets personal, you have to be able to do education, okay? You have to be able to know, you have to be able to get your emotions out of it. But when you're talking to Ty Data, my mom, okay, is actually mixed with Native American. So some people say, oh, there's a Native American in my family. Cool. Well, my mom, motherfucker. My mom. Now, I don't talk about that to people because that's not Aboriginal argument. Aboriginal argument is not that you got a Indian lady somewhere in your family. That's not.
many of them are so inert, so
Okay?
dependent on the system that they will fight.
The argument is that we were here before they were here.
Are you listening to me, Neo?
I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, man. Go ahead and check it out. So I hope people understand what I'm saying. I'm out here. We're trying to get shit together. We're trying to get shit going, whether you like it or not. Let's go ahead and take a quick little break, and then we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you check that Aboriginal Consultant out. Keep that up, family. We in the building. We'll be back. Here we go. So we gonna go ahead and get out of here, man. Peace to the family. You know what I'm saying? A1, keep that knowledge up. You know what I'm saying? AP, keep that knowledge up, but we gotta step our game up because our character is more important than our content. When we figure that out, we'll start piecing together because we finna start taking this to mainstream. And like I say, anytime somebody put Aboriginal anything about us in their title, make sure you click like button. Anybody that got that title, that's a quick rise to fame in these days, is to put Aboriginal in your title. Now, if they don't talk about Aboriginal philosophy, now this is the double-edged sword. If they don't talk about Aboriginal philosophy, guess what's going to happen to them? They're going to fade away with the wind. Nobody want to hear that bullshit no more. Nobody want to hear that nobody want to hear that Kimmy shit, family. So you're going to fade away if you don't talk about it. And when you do talk about it, that, my friend, I'm not even going to say it. But we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Deuces, dubs, a dub, a 20 sack, or whatever the hell you want to call that. We out.
On to the next one, on to the next, on to the next one, on to the next, on to the next one, on to the next.